And we're back with more scary apps that you'd best stay far away from. Somehow, some way, somebody made these and deemed them acceptable for public consumption. In some cases, they are perfectly serviceable apps, but that doesn't mean the subject matter is uncursed or fit for your tender little eyes. Others probably should have been left at the "wouldn't it be funny if we made this" stage of the creative process. Hello horror heads, and welcome back to the scariest channel on YouTube, Top 5 Scary Videos. I'm your horror host, Keegan Hughes, and today we're counting down another Top 5 Scary Illegal Apps that you should never download, Part 2. Before we get started, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more phantom-filled programming. Excellent. Let's begin. Clawing its way in number 5, we have Talking Tom or Talking Angela. Yeah, these were all the rage a few years back. Topping the App Store popularity charts, garnering promotion deals with Disney, being featured in plenty of viral YouTube videos, it was hard to escape the influence of these goofy talking cats. Of course, anything that interacts with you, whether it be a Furby or Bonzi Buddy, has a purported dark side. Some are more real than others, but the speculation surrounding our 3D rendered felines was here to stay. At the peak of their popularity, rumors circulated claiming that hackers were able to interact with children using the app and take pictures through the software. Folks whispered of a shadowy figure taking over the app, spying on kids, and even potentially using information collected to assist in kidnapping. Usually when you boot the app up, the cat will ask if you're above or below 18. This is an age restriction measure meant to limit what the characters will talk about, but of course people see this as a sinister, groomy question. People pontificate that if you say you're not an adult, the cat will ask some specifically odd questions. Where do you live? What are your parents' names? What's your phone number? Not stuff you want to be asked by a stranger. These queries, compounded by the claim that you can sometimes see the hacker in the cat's eyes, started a bit of a talking cat panic. Viral stories were posted, regaling the public with tales of Tom and Angela acting maliciously, saying rude and inappropriate things, and even asking children to perform vile tasks. One woman wrote a story detailing her young daughter's dealing with the cat app. It asked if she had a sibling, if she had been on any dates, and if she'd stick out her tongue. The mom was convinced that someone was behind the app and called the police, who said that someone was indeed lurking behind the screen. Now, these stories have definitely been debunked as hoaxes over and over again, but the tales of terrifying tabbies persist. You do have to admit, the cats are pretty creepy. Wailing its way in at number 4, we've got Baby Shaker. We're jumping way back in time for this one. Like Girls Around Me from the last list, this app came to be during a time of laxity in the digital world. Phone apps were pretty new at the time, and a lot could make it to the general public with little oversight. Baby Shaker made its way onto Apple's App Store in 2009, encouraging folks to violently shake a baby in order to keep it quiet. The description read, "On a plane, on a bus, in a theater, babies are everywhere you don't want them to be. They're always distracting you from preparing for that big presentation at work with their incessant crying. Before Baby Shaker, there was nothing you could do about it. See how long you can endure his or her adorable cries before you have to find a way to quiet the baby down." Imagine being the person writing that copy. Jeez. If you had a phone with a gyroscope, which was a pretty new development at the time, you could shake it, causing big red X's to pop up over the baby's eyes. Yes, you would shake your phone and kill a baby. This was supposed to be fun. It wasn't even executed well, if we're being honest. Line art drawings of babies, big clip art X's popping up. What a world, right? If you're the type of person who really needed to end a digital baby, you could pay 99 cents and shake to your heart's content. This was all around the time that the shake weight was released too. Coincidence? Maybe. Of course, Baby Shaker was withdrawn from the App Store almost immediately. People were up in arms about the prospect of killing babies, even if they were only digital. Plus, folks with and advocating for those with shaken baby syndrome found it to be quite insensitive. What kind of anti-social behavior was Apple encouraging through this app, right? At least the app warned people with a single line of text in the description: never shake a baby. Right, because the people downloading this spend a lot of time reading. Sneaking in at number 3, we've got Her Story. This one's actually pretty cool. It involves a murder mystery, a bunch of creepy archival footage, and plenty of text parsing. So download at your own risk. Her Story is an interactive film in which you are tasked with solving a murder. It gets weird real quick. You're dropped into a police database, which as a private citizen you probably should not have access to, and realize that a killing is being investigated. By scrubbing through clips of video interviews, reading transcriptions, and finding key clues, you've got to figure out who killed a man and why. It focuses on his girlfriend, who is the main suspect, as well as her backstory. There's an alibi, but it's far from watertight. As you dig deeper, a twisted, seedy world reveals itself. Your expectations will be flipped upside down. The whole thing is kinda like Dead Ringers, but from a different perspective. Careful though, you might find yourself up at 3 AM scribbling on the walls, tying pieces of red string between photographs. Tolling in at number 2, we've got OurIPVIP. Morbidity isn't illegal, but if it was, this app would be a death sentence. Ever had the urge to know exactly when someone died? Not like a premonition or something, no future sight, just a little reminder whenever a person passes away. Would you like it to be accompanied by some ominous sounds, maybe gothic bells? Do you keep your finger on the pulse for the sole purpose of waiting for it to disappear? Well, if so, OurIPVIP is for you. This app sends you alerts when people of interest die. It claims to have up-to-the-minute reporting concerning breaking death alerts. The Prince of Sweden dead in a kite surfing accident, Tila Tequila perishing during a satanic ritual, Gabe Newell releasing Half-Life 3, Portal 3, and Left 4 Dead 3 before succumbing to a heart attack. This app will let you know ASAP. Priority alerts can be pushed to your device with the portentous sound of tolling bells, and lesser known POI deaths can be left on silent. OurIPVIP refers to itself as the preferred notification app of the newly deceased. Do you think they contacted some freshly dead folks to find out their opinion on the app? That would be a long Ouija board filled survey. While I personally don't love the idea of being barraged with images and sounds of death 24/7, it's an interesting concept. You could learn all about the fascinating people that you'll never get to meet. Although this makes me wonder, what kind of person needs an app like this? People who have paid for hits and don't want to be caught name searching on Google? Folks looking to scoop up some loose assets of the recently deceased? Grifters trying to make a career on the discussion and memorial of dead famous people? Hard to say. But if you're interested enough to request push notifications about perishing, you're asking for a haunting or two. And finally at number 1, bootleg frozen apps. Truly some of the most cursed content out there. It's hard to wrap my head around some of the ideas presented here. Whoever's making these is in the same headspace as the folks behind the Elsa Spider-Man kids videos on YouTube. Weird stuff marketed directly to children who may or may not know how to read or write, full of weirdly suggestive imagery that they definitely don't know how to process. This style of game was popularized through desktop flash games like Games for Girls, but like all good mutated psychological diseases do, they spread to every conceivable location. We've got games like Elsa Frozen Brain Surgery, Baby Elsa Spinal Surgery, Olaf at the Dentist, Spank Elsa Butt, and ER Hospital 1 Zombie Pregnant Mommy ER Surgery. Yeah, that last one's a mouthful. I don't know if any child should be looking at any of this, ever. The illustrations are enough to give grown adults nightmares, although I guess kids don't really have a conception of how unsettling some of these images are. It's pretty wild. It's all under the guise of a totally safe, recognizable kids IP too. They're like little sleeper agent apps, sneaking their way into your life by looking harmless and then BAM! Your kid's obsessed with cartoon feet for the rest of their life. It's a lot. It's not just Frozen either, that's just a subgenre that got particularly popular during the peak of Let It Go fever. I can just about guarantee you that you can find games and apps like this featuring any children's mascot character. Just be ready for a highly injured, fetishized version of Dora the Explorer before you do any of your own research. Yeah, I think I might need to take a little break from my phone after this one. Read a few books, watch a few movies from the pre-internet era, just a mental detox. What'd you think of the list? Are there any scarier apps out there? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more prickly ones from the top 5 scary Annabelle doll facts that will terrify you. Allison Coley says, honestly, I think the original Raggedy Ann version is way scarier. All porcelain dolls are creepy, especially movie Annabelle. No one would willingly bring that thing into their home. A Raggedy Ann, though, is much more unassuming. You can't imagine such a cuddly plaything being malicious. Excellent point. It's hard to believe that people used to not think that their porcelain dolls were terrifying. Anti-Whip Viper says, I had a haunted doll when I was a kid. It was 3 feet tall, could sit, raise its arms, and the eyes closed when it was laying down. It terrified me for years before I could finally destroy it. Great video. But how did you destroy it? The internet needs to know. Was it fire? A hammer? Hydraulic press? Details! Andy Jocelyn says, I live about 15 minutes away from the hospital where those nurses work in Hartford, Connecticut. Can confirm the area is weird. Are there any other spooky stories we should be privy to? David Gilmore says, would need to hold the doll before believing anything. Okay, well you go ahead and make sure you let us know what happens. Make sure you record it all too. And Marlene Mendoza says, can you please shout me out in the next video? By all means, but now you gotta do 50 push-ups. I don't make the rules, sorry. That's all the time we have for today. Before I body slam an open Iron Maiden, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more questionable content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Others probably should have been left at the, wouldn't it be funny if we made this these queries compounded by the claim that you can sometimes see the, it wasn't even executed well. Executed, I just realized that. 5 scary illegal apps that should never doubt. Plus folks with and advocating for those with Morbidity isn't illegal, but if this app was... Can you scroll it back, Chris?
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you. Can I get a little more on the top just so I can scroll into it? Thanks. Yeah.